Prevented planting acres are up this year after record flooding and rainy weather kept equipment out of the field. And for several states to the north, this isn't the first soaked spring. Now the USDA's Risk Management Agency is making changes to prevented planting insurance for the Prairie Pothole States. The designation is for producers in Iowa, Minnesota, Montana, North and South Dakota. The new rules add a year to the requirements for getting land accepted into the program. Instead of requiring a minimum of one crop every 3 years, the USDA is stretching it out to 1 in 4. For many, that allows farmers to use the drier 2008 growing season in conjunction with 2009, 2010, and 2011 for determining prevented planting coverage next year. Without the change, many producers in the area would have limited access to the PP crop insurance coverage.
I've talked to many producers. That's been the #1 priority with them and how they've come to us with that concern, that even if we were able to move it for 1 year, it would impact them and allow them to cover that ground. So that's been the ask, and that's what RMA, I think, is going to gear towards this year.
Prevented planting guarantees farmers a payment that's between 60 and 70% of what the crop should have produced, helping producers stay in business when rain and weather keeps crops out of the field. And in North Dakota, an estimated 6 million acres are getting signed over to prevented planting. The weather challenges that started last winter proved too difficult to overcome. That's a familiar story that stretches from Montana and North Dakota down to Louisiana. For many farmers with land near the Mississippi and Missouri rivers, it's a lost season. Flooding has wiped out the chance to plant a crop. Retha Colclasher from affiliate KFYR tells us about one family worried about having enough hay for the herd next year.
These were supposed to be the Griner's corn, beans, and oat fields.
There is nothing we can do. It's done for the year.
About 360 acres of their farmland will go unplanted this year. That includes an alfalfa field, which would normally yield 3 cuttings of hay.
Just the loss of the hay value is what's really going to hurt us next spring when we don't have enough hay for the cattle. And I know that's probably going to be a problem for most people along the river that did have some hayland in the bottoms.
The land they farm is owned by the Corps of Engineers and has never had this much water on it.
The only thing we can do is hope for a good crop on the dry land.
Normally, Mary says, farming by the river bottoms is an asset. But this year, the water is so high, people can spearfish from the road they use to access their farmland.
At first, the Graners thought if the water went down fast enough, they might be able to plant millet in some of the fields, but they quickly realized that would not be an option.
On a good year, you can plant millet in July and still get a crop and do pretty well with it. But we realized 2-3 weeks ago that the water wasn't going to go away anytime soon and that we're in this for the long haul.
Mary is also worried about the long-term effects of the water, like how much silt and debris they'll have to remove from their farmland next spring, or if the forest of 200-year-old cottonwoods will be able to survive the standing water. I'm Retha Colclasher for Ag Day.